Welcome, everyone, and thank you for joining our webinar today on new inoculant innovation to power your pulses in 2024. Now I will turn it to Scott to start the presentation.
Morning, everyone. Thanks a lot for joining us today. My name is Scott Gray. I work on the commercial team here within our plant care business in Canada. And today we are very excited to introduce some new inoculant technology to help you and your customers power your pulses in crop year 2024. Also joining on the discussion today will be Brenton Bellows and Nicola Waters, and both those fellows will introduce themselves when they start their slides as well. So I thought we'd start with just a very quick introduction to who Lallemand is, in case some of you are not familiar. We are a privately held Canadian company established over 100 years ago, and our entire business focuses on the research, development, and commercialization of microorganisms. So when you think of bacteria, yeast, fungi, and their derivatives, that is what we do, and we've done for a very long time, and certainly consider ourselves experts in that segment, in that niche market. We operate with 12 different business units globally around the world. You can see a snapshot of that to the right of the screen here. For the purposes of today's discussion, and the business unit that we're all part of on the call here today is within our plant care division, and we'll move forward with that. So within our plant care business unit, what you see on the slide here are some of the various brands that we market around the world, and some of the different sorts of segments that we touch. When you're looking at things like biopesticides, biofertilizers, biostimulants. These are technologies that we have either brought to the market or delivering to the market as we move forward. For the purposes of today's discussion, we're going to be zeroing in on the LALFIX product line and a new brand which we're introducing into the Canadian market for 2024. So the brand is showcased on here. This is actually a snapshot of our pulse crop inoculant portfolio. We're not going to be discussing all the different formulations here, but we do have formulations to fulfill any sort of demand that you or your customers have, be it a liquid, a self-adhering peat formulation. And what we're going to be spending time talking about today is our brand new LALFIX Start Spherical Pulses product, which is now registered and which we're launching for pulse crops in 2024. So I'll turn it over to Brenton to introduce the product.
Thanks, Scott. I've requested control there. If you see that pop up on your screen there. Okay, great. Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us. I'm Brenton Bellows. I'm the regional accounts rep with Lallemand Plant Care. Now been with Lallemand for almost 4 years in March here, and it's really been a privilege, I would say, to be able to sell this LALFIX portfolio into the Manitoba market here in Western Canada. It's a great product, and I think probably a lot of you on the call here today have had some experience with it. Just a really hassle-free product with this granule here that we've developed compared to some other products on the market here. So really high level, LALFIX Start Spherical Pulses. We've got a dual strain Legumisarum species, dual strain Mesorhizobium. This product is going to help nodulate your pea, lentil, faba, and now your chickpea crops as well, all with one SKU. We've also got a unique microorganism that Nicola, our field solution specialist, is going to dive into deeper here after I introduce this product here. Really lightweight product. You'll notice that the bulk density is almost half of what some other products on the market are. So it's a really low application rate, 2.7 pounds an acre on 10-inch row spacing. A lot of questions from farmers, is that half the rate of some other products on the market? The answer is no. The distribution of this granule here is the same, if not better, than some other products on the market. So you'll get one full-size granule every 1.76 centimeters on 10-inch row spacing there. So plenty of feeding sites for your pulse crop to feed off of here. Two different package sizings here. There's a 27-pound bag. I think the joke in the market now is that instead of just throwing one bag on your shoulder to lift to carry up to your air cart, people are now tossing 2 bags on their shoulder. There's also a tote available, which will cover a half section of pulses here. So a little bit more about the carrier. This is a unique manufactured carrier that is exclusive to Lallemand, of course. There's a lot going on here, but there's 2 main factors to think of here with this product. One is application, and the second is agronomics. So with the application, this product has very little dust. It's a very consistent granule size, which allows for accurate application in the springtime. So we ask farmers to calibrate just a little bit more product than what they typically would with another product on the market. If you take the time to calibrate properly, this product can be very accurate. We hear a lot of feedback from farmers that they took 16 bags for a quarter section and they didn't have to run back to the retail to get 4 more bags. And they also weren't returning 4 bags at the end of the season, and perhaps maybe when the return truck has already left. So for retailers and farmers across Western Canada, it's really hassle-free product because we know when we purchase X amount of bags, we don't need to be over purchasing or returning bags at the end of the season here. A little bit more about the granule. If you were to zoom into it, you'd see these tiny little honeycomb structures, and that allows for phenomenal rhizobium survivability. What the challenge with the market has been is to find a carrier, like a granule or peat-based carrier, that keeps rhizobium alive before it's delivered to the soil in the springtime. And what we found with this granule here is that when we inoculate the product in the summertime, the rhizobium are actually multiplying on the granule as opposed to slowly decaying. So we truly have a unique carrier here, which delivers a good amount of rhizobium to the ground, which is of course pivotal for nodulating your pulse crop here. Some images that our team in Saskatoon have shared with us here. I actually saw this image on an internal meeting, and I said, why aren't we showcasing this to our retail partners and farmers across Canada here? And of course, this was approved to be shared with you guys here. But what they actually did is they cut open a granule, and they zoomed in here, and we can actually see, I think this is 20 micrometers, and then 5 micrometers on the right side there. We can actually see the bacteria multiplying on the inside of the granule here. So again, we've got a honeycomb structure to this granule here. What that does is increases the total amount of surface area available for the microorganisms or the bacteria to multiply on. A couple of videos here, just showcasing how little dust there is in this product here. It's a little bit choppy. I apologize about that. We sent samples to AgVi's laboratories a couple of years ago. What they measured is 0.1% dust with this product. Again, you can see this in the air cart here. Some feedback from farmers is that they can actually use the camera inside their air cart to see how much inoculant's left over. And you just can't with some other products on the market there. So really hassle-free product. One more shot here. Again, this is really important because we've got a vacuum system on our air cart. So because there's more air flowing between each granule, it's allowing for more accurate granular placement into the furrow here. I'll pass it along to Nicola Waters here, just to chat a little bit about the unique strains that we have on our Start Spherical Pulses product here.
Thanks, Brenton. And hi, everyone. So my name is Nicola Waters. My apologies. I'm from Quebec, so that will explain the accent. There's not much I can do to hide it. But yeah, my job, I'm tech support agronomist, and my job is to explain a little bit more like the agronomy behind, or like let's talk about the strains and the microbiology behind our product. So Brenton mentioned it, like we have an amazing carrier. Now the question was like, what can we add into that carrier, and how much of it? And the first thing, like with all of our LALFIX product line, we always work with the dual strain approach. And sometimes we receive question about like why, like why would you do that? Like that, what's the point? So every rhizobia, so Brenton mentioned before, we have the Mesorhizobium ciceri, the one for chickpea, and we have the regular Rhizobium legumisarum biovar for pea, lentils, and faba. And with all of those species, every time we add 2 strains, and the goal of that is to attack the plant 2 ways, in the sense that one strains will always be the champion of nitrogen fixation, meaning that that strain will have a number to it and will be the best nitrogen fixer out there. Problem is, if we only have that strains, we probably don't have much nodulation, but really good nodules to fix nitrogen. So we add the strain B. The strain B will be the opposite, actually, a strain that will not necessarily be the champion of nitrogen fixation per nodules, but the one that will produce the more nodulation. And what we've seen during a lot of works is that when we combine a champion of nitrogen fixation with a champion of competitiveness or aggressiveness, we maximize the BNF, so the biological nitrogen fixation. So with the LALFIX start spherical pulses, what does that mean is that we have 4 strains of actual rhizobia, 2 for Mesorhizobium ciceri and 2 for Rhizobium legumisarum biovar visae, meaning that maximize your chance of success with both crops, chickpea and pea, lentils, and faba. But that's not even all. You saw the room that we have in the carrier. So let's say the house, there's a lot of places to host a lot of people there. So we add what the starting effect to that. And the starting effect is related to another microbes that is not there to fix nitrogen at all. This microbe is called Bacillus velezensis, and it will do basically 2 things. And I will explain it, the why and the how in a minute. But the first thing is improving the root mass. And that's super important because with a better root mass, we have more place to fix nitrogen, and we have, more place to put those nodules. And also we have a better nutrient assimilation. And then the other element is the phosphorus piece. Now you may wonder why phos. We know that sometimes phosphorus is actually limiting the nitrogen fixation. So adding that component to it will make sure that the plant will have access to ATP, and ATP is used in the process of fixing nitrogen. Moving forward. Now, in terms of how is the start component able to provide those services? 4 mode of action. I will try to make them as simple as possible. The first one is really straightforward, ability to colonize the roots. So the BV in that, so the start component in the product will quickly find the root system, develop on that surrounding, and act a bit like to help the rhizobia getting inside the root system. So that's the first thing. The other element is the biofilm formation. So the BV will form a biofilm, which is like a gel. That's what you see there, and that will protect a little bit the root system. A healthy root system may mean more roots air. More roots air mean more places to position the nodulation. And finally on phos, and we'll go quickly on that because we have another slide to explain the phos, but we tap into 2 big pools of phosphorus, the organic phosphate and the mineral phosphorus that is fixed in the soil. So as I mentioned, phosphorus is super important for the crop for tons of reasons, but even to fix nitrogen. And so what the start component will do for that is that on organic phosphates, we produce an enzyme. So in the soil, 30 to 90% of the total phosphorus is actually in the form that is organic and not available for the plant. So by using that technology, what you will do is that you will have an enzyme that will develop on the surrounding of the root system, and that will unleash that organic phosphorus that otherwise will not be available at all. But that's not even all. Our technology will also unleash the mineral phosphate that could be trapped with on high pH calcium, on low pH that could be trapped with iron, for instance. The mode of action there is a bit different, but what we know is that our technology is the only microbes that could do all of those phosphorus solubilization piece with only one microbes. And we believe that's also a matter of consistency, because one microbes to do it all is way easier than to try to have different things planned and hopefully see something. So that's one of the elements that is pretty strong with our technology. So that will be my last one, folks, for you today. So on phosphorus, again, we know, like we always talk about NP and K, right? And phosphorus is the second most important limiting factor for the crop. But we know for a matter of fact that when legume crops, most of the time phosphorus will actually turn out to be your first limiting factor. And the reason being that the nitrogen will be covered by the rhizobia. But for that to happen, you need to have the proper amount of phosphorus. And the problem is that in the soil, phosphorus is immobile. And in the plant, it's highly mobile, meaning that if you have a deficiency in the crop earlier, for instance, you won't see it, and it will affect the crop and the nodulation and the seed development and what's not. So you could have phosphorus deficiency without even knowing it. So that's why we had the start component to the LALFIX pulses technology to make sure that we actually break the glasses of yield, if you want.
Just looking at some third-party replicated data from 2022 here. You know, some of the key factors that are leading to these yield increases, you know, Nicola highlighted here, dual strain across our entire portfolio for pea, lentil, faba, and now chickpea. That can be quite critical, especially in conditions like we've seen in Western Canada over the last, well, let's say 5 or 6 years, where the crop's really struggling to get out of the ground because it's very cold conditions. They're also really dry conditions. These are all factors that can lead to poor crop emergence. So with our granule, going back to the carrier here, it's very consistent, not only in size, but it also is consistent in holding moisture available for the bacteria. That could be another you know, reason why we're seeing improved nodulation windows for these crops, which in turn improves the nitrogen uptake for the crop, and in turn improves the yield performance for the crop as well here. So our carrier can keep our bacteria, our rhizobium, alive for much longer in the ground, especially when the crop is looking at really dry conditions here. Looking at trial data from the last number of years, sorry, pardon me, this is from 2022 here. Quite consistent, 2.5 to 9% increase across Western Canada here. Again, we do have some areas where there are really dry conditions where the product is standing out. Having said that, though, keep in mind that in order for phosphorus to be taken up by the plant, we do still need mass flow. And mass flow would be the movement of water towards the root system of the plant, pushing nutrients such as phosphorus, potentially nitrogen, sulfur, and potash towards the root system of the plant. So consistent yield performance. So not only are we applying the product in good amounts, farmers are seeing that benefit with the ease of use, but it's also showing up at the end of the crop season here with an increase in yield. Some pictures now from trials from across Western Canada. You know, Nicola mentioned that our Bacillus there can help colonize around the root system of the plant and also improve the total root mass, which is really important for pulse crops, because the more root mass we have, the more nodulation we see, and we're seeing that in our trial pictures here as well. So what actually happens when a nodule is formed is that the root hair reaches out to the bacteria, pulls it in, forming the nodule. So on the right side here, we can see an improved amount of root mass. We know that there's more nodules on the crop here, and then in turn, more an increased nitrogen window and more nitrogen available to the crop here. This is from a couple of years ago. Extremely dry conditions. Where was this? In Saskatchewan here. Again, improved root mass, improved vigor with the plant coming out of the ground here to get off to a good start. And we never know when that moisture might shut off, right? So if we can get the crop out of the ground quickly in the springtime, that'll help the plant throughout the growing season here on tough growing conditions.
We're just going to wrap up. We had 30 minutes slotted here for today, and thought we'd just close with a few slides from some of the activity we've seen on social media over the past years, and some of the grower testimonials that have been made on there. So, I mean, social media is a platform that we certainly use utilize from a marketing perspective. I think it's also a tool that many farmers and customers also utilize for communicating with each other and engaging with each other, and talking about their experiences in the field. And this is a snapshot of some of the things that where we've been tagged and seen over the course of our years launching our spherical granule technologies into the market. A lot of folks talking about the handling benefits, the convenience, the ease of use, the reliability. Some of the things that Brenton and Nick have been talking about here today as well. Certainly been a technology that folks have been very happy with once they try it. The spherical granule overall is a brand that certainly has a fairly high retention rate once folks experience it here. And so another couple of pictures here of a load of spherical granules going out to the market. Here's another grower talking about the great nodulation and performance and experience that they had utilizing the product on their land. And then just sort of wrapping up here with a few more things that we've seen, again, talking about, the exceptional flowability, ease of use, convenience, so forth, and performance that they're seeing in the field. I think the diagram on the right, if you can see that, hopefully it's showing up okay for everyone. This was actually a trial this past crop year, which we typically do, a number of as we're getting ready to launch a new product into the market. So that's a LALFIX Start Spherical Pulses trial, where a grower was able to very, clearly see, the line down the field, the differentiation between the new Spherical Start Pulses product and the other premium granular product that they're using on their market. And of course, not only were they able to see a health effect through the field, like you're seeing there, it also correlated to yield at the end of the day, and is one of the fields that was in the performance slide that Brenton showcased a little bit earlier. So certainly, if you're looking for a product, a technology on the market that is unique, that your growers are going to be happy with and have good experiences with, I'd definitely say check out the LALFIX Start Spherical Pulses if you haven't already. So this is a snapshot of our sales team, technical sales reps that we have. We've got coverage right across the country. So take a screenshot of this if you wish, or a quick picture. You can check out our website, to get the details as well. Feel free to reach out at any time to your local representative. Our job is here to support, and support everyone as well as they can, and ensure that the customers are having a positive experience with us. So yeah, feel free to reach out at any point, and we'll maybe close here with a thank you for your time today. Really, really appreciate that from everyone on our team.